All right, now let's discuss this and other crimes. We're now joined via Zoom by Dr. Jakkie Cilliers, the head of African Futures and Innovation at the ISS. Dr. Cilliers, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Now, South Africa has obviously this month just been rocked by a number of these mass shootings, and it's very concerning for most South Africans because the question is, what is going on? So what do you think is behind the increase in mass shootings in this country?
Well, it's good afternoon. It's generally I think overall with regard to policing, a decline in policing performance that we see coming to a head at the time that people feel a sense of impunity. There is lots of talk about that there's a sudden increase in the availability of arms. That may also be a factor. But the main problem is that policing and crime prevention, that there's no deterrent value. People are not scared in a sense that they are going to be arrested and prosecuted. And the lack of police efficiency, effectiveness, and public trust in the police, I think plays a big role. But of course, these kind of events, I can't speak specifically about what happened, is really about an increase also in organized crime in South Africa. So it's often protection rackets, it's often but it's basically organized criminal activity that we're seeing that's on the rise. And that also reflects on the lack of investment that we've seen in detective services, the lack of control over the firearms registry, the fact that police forensics don't work. And it all comes down to accountability and to a lack of management. There are many problems within policing and within South Africa, but it's not impossible to fix these things because they are essentially management, oversight, accountability issues.
I don't know what's better, because then the concern is, how do the SAPS even start then to make sure that there is some level of vigilance, some level of deployment in various sectors? We know that, of course, the shootings in Alexandra, that's where Police Minister Dr Cilliers said that particular police station is one of the most, resourced police stations in Gauteng, as an example, and yet still, those crimes happened under their watch. I mean, in one particular shooting, it happened over a space of 2 hours without any police intervention at all. Of course, when we saw the shootings at the taverns, we were told that somehow these shootings aren't linked. What is your thoughts around, is it organized crime? Are these just acts of criminality, like you say, of course, because of the lack of deployment from the SAPS too? So these are just unrelated crimes. What's your sense of that?
So when events like this happen, we all call for visible police reaction and for police presence. And very often what happens is the minister arrives and there's a big hullabaloo. But what works in crime prevention and detection is firstly that you prioritize on the areas where 80% of your crime happens, and on the criminals, the organized criminals that are engaged, the habitual criminals that engage in this. The South African police cannot mobilize and supervise. Yes.
Dr. Cilliers, we just want to go to a live event that's currently happening now, but we'll definitely